They called her dead weight. Not to her face, of course, but behind closed doors, in hushed tones and shared glances. She knew exactly what they thought. In a squad full of hardened Marines, Alina Ramirez stood out for all the wrong reasons. She wasn't the biggest, the fastest, or the loudest. She didn't brag about bar fights or post-mission drinks. She kept to herself, did her drills, and carried more weight in silence than anyone ever gave her credit for. And that silence made them uncomfortable. Because they didn't understand her, and what people don't understand, they often underestimate. Alina didn't complain. Not when they rolled their eyes during training, not when they made jokes under their breath. She just took the hits, mentally logged every look, every comment. Day after day, she trained harder. Pushed herself past the point of failure, alone in the gym when no one was watching. She wasn't trying to prove anything, not to them. She had something bigger driving her. Something from her past no one dared to ask about. Something she carried. Like a shadow, then came the field exercise. Simulated combat. 5 elite Marines selected for their speed, strength, and combat skills. All eyes were on them. No one noticed Alina step into the zone, quiet as always. They assumed she'd be out. First, dead weight, remember? What happened next? It didn't make sense. Not to the onlookers, not even to the men who had trained for this moment. One by one, they dropped fast, clean, and efficient, like dominoes. And the last thing each of them saw before going down was her face. But that wasn't the shocking part. It was what Alina did after the takedown that made jaws drop and left the entire base in stunned silence. Because behind her calm eyes, there was something darker at play. Something no one was ready for. After the exercise, the training field was eerily quiet. The 5 Marines she took down were still lying there, groaning in disbelief, too. Stunned to speak. A few instructors rushed over, trying to process what they'd just seen. Alina didn't look proud. She didn't smile or gloat. She simply stepped back, hands loose at her sides, calm like it was just another drill. But everyone watching knew it wasn't just another drill. This was something else. Whispers spread fast across the base. Who trained her? How did she move like that? It wasn't brute strength. Her takedowns were too calculated, too smooth, like she could read their every move before they made it. One by one, she'd turned their own momentum against them, using timing, angles, pressure points. Things you don't just pick up from regular Marine training. Rumors started flying. Maybe she was former Special Forces. Maybe intelligence had planted her as a test. Some even wondered if she had a background in something off the books, black ops. Private contracts, things no one's supposed to talk about. But the truth was stranger than any rumor, a lot quieter. Alina had never been in Special Forces. She wasn't recruited by some hidden agency. In fact, she barely made it through basic. What most didn't know was where she came from or what she left behind. Before the Marines, Alina had been living under a different name in a different world. One filled with broken rules, survival instincts. And a mentor who trained her not for glory, but to stay alive. There were flashes of that world. In the way she moved, controlled, sharp, purposeful. She didn't fight to win. She fought like someone who had no other choice. And now, the question hanging over the base wasn't just who Alina Ramirez really was, but what exactly she was preparing for. Because this takedown, it wasn't the end. It was just the start of something much bigger. Captain Rourke had been watching from the second floor of the operations building, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. He'd seen a lot in his year's combat tours, classified missions, and more than one soldier break under pressure. But Alina, she didn't fit any mold. Her records were clean to clean, like someone had gone in and scrubbed them. No disciplinary actions, no commendations, just a flat line of average scores and transfer requests. But what he saw out there today, that wasn't average. That was calculated precision, born from real-world experience. The kind you don't get in a classroom or basic field training. Back in the barracks, the 5 Marines she floored weren't taking it well. Especially Corporal Drew, the loudest of the group. He'd made a habit of mocking Alina from day one, calling her dead weight in front of others like it was a joke. Now, the joke had flipped hand. It was burning him up inside. Rumors turned into resentment, and Drew wasn't about to let it go. Something's off about her, he told the others that night. No one just does that unless they've been somewhere, dirty. The others nodded, unsure if they were more embarrassed or curious. Either way, trust was cracking. Meanwhile, Alina kept her head down. She knew what was coming. It always started like this: isolation, doubt, then confrontation. The real challenge wasn't the training, it was surviving the suspicion. She started getting called in for odd debriefs, random psych evals, questions disguised as friendly check-ins. People who never noticed her before suddenly wanted to talk. And not just from inside the base. A man in civilian clothes, sunglasses, and a government badge had shown up asking for her by name. No one knew who he was, only that he left without a word after seeing her from a distance. Whatever Alina had escaped from, it hadn't let her go. And now the walls were starting to close in. Because this wasn't just about 5 Marines going down in a drill. This was about something buried deep, and someone, somewhere, wanted it to stay that way no matter what. The days that followed felt like walking a tightrope over a storm. Alina moved through the base with quiet purpose, but every glance felt heavier, every whisper sharper. The Marines who once ignored her now watched with suspicion, or worse, envy. Captain Rourke called her in again, his tone unreadable. "Alina, you're not just dead weight anymore," he said, voice low. "But we need to understand what's behind all this. We need to know if you're ready for what's coming." Those words hit harder than any training drill. Rumors spiraled faster. Some said she had a past no one wanted to touch. Others whispered about secret missions and a past life in shadows that could put everyone in danger. Alina knew the truth was messier. It was about survival, about keeping a promise she made long ago. And right now, that promise was leading her to a test unlike any she had faced before. Late one night, the man in civilian clothes appeared again, this time closer near the training grounds. Alina caught sight of him just before he vanished into the darkness. He wasn't just a stranger anymore. He was a signal. Someone was watching, waiting for her to make a move. And the weight of that was crushing. Then came the message, coded. Notes slipped under her door, simple but chilling. "They're coming. Be ready." No signature, no explanation, just a warning. Alina knew what that meant. The calm before the storm was over. The quiet battles, the secret shadows, the whispered threats, they were all about to explode. And when they did, the base, the Marines, even Captain Rourke himself would see exactly who she was, why she had been called dead weight for so long. The question was, would they be ready for what came next? Just when Alina thought the pressure couldn't get any heavier, everything shifted. The next morning, the base was thrown into chaos. An alarm blared, an unauthorized breach detected near the perimeter. Soldiers scrambled, weapons drawn. But no intruder was found. What unsettled everyone more was the discovery of a strange device, something small, high-tech, and unlike anything standard military protocol had seen. It wasn't a bomb, but it was definitely a warning. Captain Rourke called an emergency meeting, tension thick in the room. "This isn't a drill," he said grimly. "Someone's testing us, and they're testing Alina." Whispers spread that the device had been planted deliberately close to where she had been training. The implication was clear. She was a target. Or maybe even a lure. But the real shock came moments later. Elaine's personal locker was found open, and inside was a sealed envelope containing classified documents that shouldn't have been anywhere near her. Maps, mission reports, names of operatives marked with red circles. Someone had either planted them or Alina had hidden them, but no one knew which. The suspicion deepened. Was she hiding something bigger than anyone imagined? Or was someone trying to frame her? Corporal Drew's voice cut through the silence, bitterness dripping from every word. Maybe she's not just dead weight. Maybe she's deadlier than all of us combined. We never saw it coming. Others muttered in agreement, the line between fear and distrust blurring fast. Alina felt the walls closing in tighter than ever. The weight of the unknown pressed down on her. Who was behind this? What did they want? And how much longer could she hold the secret she'd carried all along? Every move felt like walking into a trap, and every person she thought she could. Trust suddenly seemed like a threat. The game was no longer just about proving herself in training. It was about survival and about uncovering a truth that could change everything for the Marines, for the base, and for Alina herself. The countdown to the real fight had begun. The tension exploded one rainy night when the base went into full lockdown. Alina was in the training hall when the lights flickered out, replaced by red emergency strobes. The unknown threat had made its move. Soldiers scrambled, searching every corner, but the real danger was closer than anyone guessed. Elena's instincts kicked in, sharp and unyielding. It was then that the truth came crashing down. The man in civilian clothes appeared again, this time stepping into the light, hands raised but eyes cold. "I'm here to bring you home," he said, voice low but commanding. The documents, the device, the break-in was all a setup. Alina wasn't just a Marine. She was a former operative for a covert unit disavowed by the government years ago. She had been hiding in plain sight, her past erased to protect her and those around her. But now that past had caught up. Captain Rourke stepped forward, realization dawning on his face. "You kept this secret to protect us," he said quietly. "But it's why you've been targeted." The tension eased, but only slightly. The threat was still out there, a shadow hunting Alina to silence her for good. Suddenly, a group of masked attackers breached the base. Alina moved like lightning, taking them down one by one with the precision and control she'd honed long ago. The Marines, inspired by her courage, rallied behind her. What had started as distrust turned into unity. As the last attacker fell, Alina caught her breath, the weight of years pressing down, but also lifting. She had faced the ghosts of her past and stood tall, but just when it seemed the danger was over, the man who'd come for her spoke again. "They're not done," he warned. "This is just the beginning." Alina's eyes locked on the horizon. The fight for survival wasn't over, was only getting darker. And the next move, it was hers. The night's chaos finally settled, leaving the base battered but standing. Alina stood among her fellow Marines, no longer the quiet, underestimated soldier they once dismissed as dead weight. She had proven more than strength or skill. She had shown resilience, loyalty, and the kind of courage that comes from surviving not just battles on the field, but battles within. Captain Rourke approached her quietly, a nod of respect in his eyes. "You've earned your place here," he said, "not just as a Marine, but as one of us." The words carried weight, breaking through years of silence and doubt. For Alina, it was more than a title. It was acceptance. The truth about her past, once a shadow hanging over her, became a bridge instead of a barrier. The secret unit she came from was buried deep, but here, among these Marines, she found something new, a team that didn't just see her past, but who she was now. And that mattered more than any file or mission ever could. Corporal Drew, Loudest critic approached last, a reluctant smile breaking through his usual bravado. "Guess I was wrong," he said quietly. "You're not dead weight." It wasn't just an apology. It was the start of something real: trust built from respect, earned in the toughest way possible. As dawn broke over the base, Lena looked out over the horizon, feeling the weight she carried finally lighten. The battles ahead would still come. But now she wasn't alone. She had a place to stand, a team to fight with, and a future she'd fought hard to claim. Her story wasn't just about taking down 5 Marines like dominoes. It was about rising from the shadows, proving strength isn't always loud, and that sometimes the heaviest weight is the one you carry alone till you decide to let it go.